Hello gorgeous people, welcome to this week's energy transit. This week we're going to be looking at gate or trait 59, which is achieving union. And today's particular quality is the fourth line, and I have both the 59 in the fourth line quality in my design. So I'm going to be speaking quite a bit about some of my own personal experience of this particular gate or trait in my design. But when we look at achieving union, it's essentially about intimacy and this breaking down of the barriers to intimacy. And the reason for breaking down these barriers to intimacy is because we want to create a bond for life or achieve union with people over a longer period of time. On the other side of the 59 in the mandala is the 55, which is all about a deeper connection to spirit. So it's like this abundance through emotional spirit. When you think about bonding from this particular perspective, it goes really beyond speaking, and it's really about our design connecting to design. And it's about having this potential for deep and fertile connection, because that's really necessary if we want to have this union that goes forward into time. And when you experience this energy, which all of us are experiencing at the moment, because as the transits move through, it means that we all have access to this energy for the 6 days or the 7 days that it's around. And what you might start noticing is there's this quality of warmth and intimateness with people as they're connecting with you. Remembering though that we're not designed to connect with everyone. So we're not going to feel this with every single person. But where the connections are correct, there's going to be this warmth and this intimacy to those connections. And it's really about pulling different people together for the good of the community, or for the good of the whole, for the good of the team or the work group or things like that, or even for the family, right? It's about pulling people together. And when I think about my own personal experience and about how people describe me, this is one of the things that they say a lot, is that I'm really good at pulling people together. And when I think about it myself, what I see is that I'm actually quite good at helping people to see one another. So for example, there's often conversations that happen between two people, and one person is talking about things from their perspective and the other person is talking about things from their perspective. And while they're having a conversation and I'm watching they feel like they're at odds to each other, or that they're not aligned in their conversation. But I actually see that they're speaking about the same things. It's just that they can't see one another's perspectives. And so I often have described myself as an interpreter, and really it's just about breaking down the barriers that each person has in this communication for them to connect with one another, so that they can see each other's side of the story and potentially work a lot better together. I've done this quite a lot in the companies that I've owned, working with different staff members, and really about creating a cohesive group that can work together. Especially when you have a business and you have team members, it's really important to have people that work really well together, because it's for the long term, and that affects the whole culture and the whole environment of your entire business structure. And this is one of the things that I feel that I do really well at. And if we think about this warmth and this friendliness, I also feel like there's this other quality that comes in with it, which is about really taking any chaos that's in the environment and really calming it. I feel like I bring a calming influence, because when people are in chaos, usually what happens is that they're not thinking clearly, or they're very scattered in their energy. And so, they're kind of bouncing all over the place, and the more conflict seems to happen in a chaotic environment. But what I'm able to do is bring people to a calmer state, which once again helps them to connect. It breaks down that barrier for connection. If I look back at my life as well, I see that I'm always kind of hosting social collaborations or networking groups, or finding ways for people to connect. And one of the things that I actually enjoy doing is bringing people of different diversity together and watching their interactions, and seeing how people that almost would seem at opposite ends of the spectrum, or in really opposing areas in life, can actually be brought together and can have a great conversation and a great collaboration where they may not have thought that they would be able to do that. The other thing that I wanted to mention today about this achieving union is that there's this, for me particularly, and with the fourth line, which is what we're in today, or the fourth quality, is that it has this non-sexual intimacy. And this is the key factor, because in order to break down barriers and create intimacy, to create bonding, to achieve union, there needs to be a certain level of intimacy, but it can often be misconstrued as a sexual intimacy, which it is not. And people, as soon as people cross that boundary between the non-sexual intimacy and into the sexual, things get really weird and odd, and they don't actually work out. And so what I want you to be paying attention to as you're coming into this week is, number one, being really selective about who you connect with, who you create this intimacy with, and then watching this sexual component to it. Are people misconstruing this intimacy as a sexual connection, and is it getting all weird? And are you able to keep it in that non-sexual space? In my life, I seem to connect really well with men and on a friendship level. But if a woman comes in at some point to be a girlfriend or something like that, there's often conflict between us because she reads the energy as a sexual advance when it's not that at all. It's definitely just a non-sexual intimacy. And it's really amazing to be able to form connections with people on a really deep level and have that sexual component not in it. It doesn't mean that you can't be sexual. Obviously, there are times to have sexual intimacy with certain people in your life. But on day-to-day and business and partnership relationships, we want to keep that sexual element out of it and have a really great working relationship that brings in the intimacy, but without the sexual component. And when we think of the 59, it's in the emotional intelligence or the solar plexus center. And anything to do with the emotional intelligence, it takes time. There's time to get clarity. So never bypass your decision-making strategy or your authority in human design. But I want you to just take a little bit more time with this particular element and noticing that it will evolve over time. You'll know over time if somebody is really the person that you want to bring this bonding with, this intimacy to, that type of relationship. And also noticing, as this energy's been in your space for a couple of days and it's going to be in your space for a few days more, what's coming towards you? Who's coming towards you? Are there partnerships? Are there business relationships? What's kind of coming into your sphere to achieve union with? Well, that's all I have to share with this particular trait or gate 59 for this week's energy transit. If you've got any comments or any experiences that you're having around this, I'd be happy to hear from them and to see how you're experiencing this energy, because when we have the transit, it means that we're all feeling the energy at the moment. I have it in my design, and what I notice is if I already have it in my design and then the energy's there, it kind of feels like a double whammy, or it gets amplified. I feel it more intensely. And because it's consistent in my design, I get really excited because it feels like, oh, I know this one. I felt this one in my life. And so if you have it, happy to hear what you have to share with it. And if you don't have it, what are you experiencing at the moment? Are you noticing more intimacy or more connection with people this week? Pop your comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you the next time I pop in to share an energy transit. I hope you have a beautiful and magical day. Bye for now, gorgeous ones.